Hey guys, sorry this is kind of last second. Oh man, I didn't even like brush my hair or anything. I've got work, so the live streaming stuff may end up being a little more erratic, less scheduled. I last week it was crazy. I got like probably I don't know 4 projects offered to me. Um, Actually, maybe more than that. I'm still waiting to hear back on one of the TV shows, but it was a combination of union projects and non-union stuff. So, yes, I will do my best to keep putting content out. And I think I've got a pretty cool collaboration tomorrow. Um, and I'll post a link to that if it actually happens. So yeah, today we're gonna do a fight scene. We're gonna edit some sound effects for this fight scene in this short that uh, we've been working on for the past couple sessions. So it's probably going to be kind of a shorter class today. So it's just sound effects. We're only going to be doing a fight scene. In fact, let me go back to this. So we've already done just kind of an overview of what we've done in the previous classes. We have edited most of the dialogue. We have edited background sound effects, ambience, birds, wind, water, that kind of stuff. We also spent 2 hours editing vehicles, which I'm going to get rid of my slop for the car chase. This was like a almost not quite 2 minute, maybe like 1:45, 1 minute 45 second car chase. And now we have a short fight scene. So the characters have a confrontation in the woods, and they have a little dialogue, and then they have a fight. So let's see first of all how long this fight is. I'm going to guess 30 seconds. Ooh, 19 seconds. So really short. We should be able to fly through this pretty quickly. Okay, so we've got somewhat organized session. I'm going to hide these scene tracks because we don't need them. We have dialogue, vehicles, and backgrounds, and that's it. We're going to do Foley and some other things too. But for now, I'm just going to add one basic folder, and we'll just call this fight. You don't always have to do this. You can just have like, group of sound effects tracks, but I kind of like organizing stuff. And let's make the fight. How about, we've already got orange, we've got red. Let's do purple. Now for fight scenes, you're most likely going to be working with the majority of the tracks being in mono because the action is going to take place on scene. But I know there's some opportunities for gun stuff. So let's just start with, let's do 8 mono, we'll do lowercase, mono fight, and then we'll do 4 stereo. I might end up adding, let me add 4 mono, we'll do mono weapon, and maybe 2 stereo weapon. Okay. And now I need to make sure these are going out to my 2 bus so that you guys can hear it and I can hear it. Just going to do a quick color code fight. Since we're purple folder, I'll do that purple, and then for weapon, we'll do more of like that color. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can start a fight scene. The first one is you can mark or do region groups on, like tracks like punches and blocks and that kind of stuff. that can be very efficient if you have a lot of fighting sound effects to do, but it's kind of boring, and I think it's more fun to just jump right in and go frame by frame on this stuff. So this is the beginning of the fight. He grabs the box. So Kyle is, let me see if you guys can, oh, you won't be able to, I won't be able to see that because I'm using a black magic output. But the character on the right, his name's Kyle. The character on the left, his name is Josh. So the initial action is Kyle grabs a box and Josh blocks the gun. So I'm just gonna do markers for this, just so I have it, you know, accurate to the frame. So let's go to Soundly. Any sound effects editing you do, you're gonna want some kind of software, some kind of tool to help you organize your sound effects. You can use Workspace in Pro Tools. You can use bins in Premiere. There's all kinds of different options for that. I like Soundly. It's cheap. It's simple. It works without too much crashing. I used to use SoundMiner and have kind of switched over to Soundly for sound effects. And their online library that you get with the subscription is pretty good. In fact, I'll go to their sounds first if I, know my library is a little light on something. But for this, we just need a grab, and it's a wood. So I'm going to say grab wood, and we'll start listening to some of this stuff. These are all doors. And I've got some old Foley here that I could use, but I kind of want something that's a little more meaty. Not that. I mean, a bullet in wood might work. Sometimes bullet hits are nice to use just because they're huge sounding, but it can't be too huge. No, like not that. That one's nice. It's got some low end to it. We do need like a rattle too. That's a shell. Some of these might kill your ears, and I'm sorry about that. Just do wood hit. Hit with metal. No. This table hit might work if we pitch it up. Yeah. Sure. That's good. And then we need a gun grab. Guys, feel free to drop any questions you want. There's not too many people, so I'll just answer whatever. I am doing a members only Q&A later this week, so if you're a member, look forward to that. If not, then you'll probably miss it. Okay, so we need a gun grab here. I know I've got some good stuff for that. And that's probably good. Especially that first piece. Nice thing about spotting in from Soundly is you do get handles on the sound effects, so you can always adjust it. And let's do a gun hit as well. Ooh, that's actually better. So some of this stuff, like, you can get carried away with layers. You'll generally want to do less layers, just because the sounds can kind of speak a little more. So let's do, did I have a gun punch? Gosh. Those are so gnarly. These older sounds end up getting super limited, which makes them cut through, but you got to bring them way down. Okay, cool. That's good. Now, one thing I'm going to do for this is I'm going to pretend, because the gun is covered by Josh's how do I put this delicately, generous body, that the gun goes off here. So I can get rid of these markers. I'm going to say it goes off right there. I know for a fact this is a SIG 9mm, so I'm just going to look for a 9mm sound. Glock 17 might work. Those are the like really cliched ones. I need something that sounds a little more modern. Ooh, a Taurus might work. That sounds pretty real. It's got some nice space to it. I'm going to use that one for the stereo layer. For guns, you really end up layering a couple different things most of the time based on the perspective of where the gun is and how big you want it to sound. So at the very least, you want to have a kind of a wider tail, something that has some space to it that gives you a sense of where the gun is being fired. And then you want a dry fire, and you want a like nice body of the gun, and then you can add like a sub layer too. There's a great plugin for this called Weaponizer, made by Krotos, that I use for guns all the time. Like if there's a bunch, the cliched ones sound more present. They do. It'll sound good once I'm done with that, and I stop chewing your guys' ear. Weaponizer by Krotos is great because you can layer stuff and you can process it. If I have a show with a lot of guns, I will use that and set different presets, which are then easy to change. If the director's like, hey, I don't like this, I can just go back and like swap sounds out instead of having to recut everything. That's kind of nice. I think I'm going to I might swap this out. Yeah, I'm going to swap it out. That one sounds more interesting because it's got the ka-cha sound. Okay, and then, ooh, process? What is this like? Nope. Nope. Let's find shot. Yeah, Uzis would be great. That'd be awesome. No, that's a slide. These Armageddon sounds can be, the dry fires are usually pretty good. It's probably fine. So the dry fire, you want to put like a frame before the shot, otherwise you won't hear it. So it's like click-car, or no, clib-boom, clib-boom, yeah. So you just hear the initial click, and then this shot. Let's see what this is. Ooh. This Jericho will probably go. Yeah, that'll go good. Actually, yeah, let's move this guy up. See where we're at. It sucks though because he's hitting the gun, so the dry fire might actually not be good to have. Yeah, that's better. And then we need like just a nice pistol, like the boomy kind of, not sure how to describe it. It might be this actually. Nope, it's definitely not that. Nope. I'm looking for like just a generic pistol. Perfect. Yeah. That's got a little bit of more low end. And then what I'm going to add on top of this is probably just an 808 kick, like a super short one. Pretty low. Perfect, like that. Line all these up, and let's see. You could do a casing, a shell casing, but it's forest, so like, is it gonna? Are you gonna hear the tinkly tink of the shell? Probably not. We do need to hear this stuff fall. Since I'm already down here in weapon land, I might as well. I guess I'll save the box for Foley, but let me do like a gun, drop, grass. What they have on grass, it'd probably be dirt. Yeah, that might work. I'll add a grass hit layer. It can be anything dropping on grass, a baseball or anything like that. Too dry. Try to jump. Okay, we'll call that good for now. Now we need a... Let's go back to the grab. I'll show you guys a trick for this. Maybe... Yeah, let's do a body bump for that. Nope. We need thumpy thumpy. So I have this library that I use for building stuff called Close Combat Construction Kit. And it has all kinds of like, they're labeled really well. So you've got high, lows, smacks, sweeteners, all kinds of stuff. And it's not like you just use one, like you have to use it as material to build punches. But for like a body hit, we really just need like, yeah, something like that would be good. And to really sell this, what helps is to have like a cloth throw. Kind of the shorter the better, just as like a smush layer for it. So here's just the impacts. Cool, and that should line up pretty well. Yeah, okay, so then we've got a elbow right there. There's the, you actually might have connected on that. And for this, just starting from kind of the bottom up, we'll do a cloth whoosh. Cool, like something like that. You can hear the arm moving in the cloth. And then we need a... probably that for the high. And you kind of want to space like the cloth out away from the punch a little bit, just so that you can hear all the sounds. If you have too many sounds at the same time, you won't hear them. I'm gonna get this sound out pretty quick. I really just want it for the thump. Yeah, the high is actually not gonna work. A slap. We'll put a slap on top. That one. It's got a little bit of a whoosh to it too, which is kind of nice. And then I think, yeah, we see blood come out, so we're gonna add a bone crunch. And the bone generally needs to come like a frame or two after the punch to hear it. Yeah, maybe his nose. Sure, we'll do that. So you see, I'll zoom in, I'm spacing. This grid is in frame lines, so I've got the cloth whoosh leading up. And actually, sometimes the punches look and feel better if you do this, like have the whoosh before the punch, then the punch, and then the bone break kind of like a frame and a half after it. And I'm actually going to add an arm whoosh to this too, just to make it sound faster. Sure, we'll do that one. So let's play this. We'll just solo these sounds. One more time. And let's get the spit, the blood spit too. Probably that one. We might want to add like a actual spit. Human spit. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man. That one might work. All right, let's see if that all works. Too squishy on the blood. Maybe I'll just take a little bit of it off. And bring it back a tiny bit. Maybe I'll just take that squish out. No, it's not. It's the spit sound. Yeah, it's because it sounds like plastic. That's why. Let's try that. Sure, maybe just back kind of where it was. Okay, we got a headbutt. Let's get another cloth whoosh in there. Sure. That has a nice stop to it. So when you're cutting sound effects, one thing, you might end up with A and B fight sound effects, like here's a bad guy punches and here's a good guy punches, just so that the mixer and director can adjust things. But I'm not going to do that because it's such a short sequence. What I am going to do is keep similar sounds on similar tracks. So here's a cloth whoosh and here's another cloth whoosh. And then I'll do the same thing. That can also help you when you're maybe stealing sounds from other builds. So you can be like, oh, I need a low punch. And you go back and like, there it is. It's right there. So, oh, I need to type. You end up knowing like what to look for, what to type into your library. So I need a low element that's not that. So it sounds different. And it's also a headbutt. So it should be something different. That's got like everything. That's got highs and lows in it. I'm gonna move this over a couple frames. Because the punch happens and then he reacts, which you'll find that when you go frame by frame on fight scenes, you'll see that a lot. But it goes by so fast when you're watching the movie that like you don't notice that people are missing by a mile. Maybe we'll go for something like that. Let's just see how this sounds with just these 3 sounds. Cool. Maybe we'll do we could do probably a bone crunch for that. I mean, he's hitting him in the nose, so. Sometimes you only need like a frame or 2 of the sound to get it to sell. Sure, that's fine. And then we've got a throw here. So for throws, the big thing that sells them is cloth movement. Like big cloth movement. Like that. Sure, we'll take that for the actual throw part. We need a grab too. I don't know, that might not be big enough. Bigger is better. Okay, so we need a grab. I think I'll put the grab here. I'll do a whoosh, a cloth whoosh for the grab. Yeah, something like that. You don't really need too much other than that, but I'm going to do like an actual skin grab. And I know in this library, which I'm searching it by just doing CK because it's construction kit. But your library is going to be different, so don't like think, oh, I can just search for that. Actually, you know what? Let's just look in the Soundly stuff. Because maybe you don't have this library. So let's just cut some stuff from Soundly's cloud library. Yeah, this stuff's all good. Maybe not like skinny enough. You know what? We'll use one of these, and then we'll also use a skin grab. Maybe slap. Hand slap. Sometimes that works. Slap ass. That's funny. What? It's so funny what you end up finding in libraries. None of these are really doing it for me. I know I have stuff in my library, so let me search back in there. Yeah, like probably that one. So we got to space these out. We'll say cloth, then skin, and then the body fall. Let's add like a whoosh too. Like a strong whoosh, strong cloth whoosh. That's not even cloth. Yeah, and then that will coincide, or I should say precede the body fall dirt. Nope. Ooh, some of these might be good though. Yeah, like that. You can hear some leaves in there. And where do we want to put this? Right here, cutting on action. I'm going to add one more layer just to really make this hurt. Gosh, those are so huge. It's good. Sometimes these are good if you just use a piece of it, just to get that compression saturation that it has, and then like just use it for two or three frames. Let's see. Maybe a couple more frames of it. And then I'm going to slide this stuff back one frame. Cool. That's good. Maybe I'll add a sweetener to this. Body fall. Oops, that's right. Body fall sometimes is 2 words. The shoes. These sound like their shoes came off. I don't want that. I'm just trying to make this messier so that it's not just one sound, it's like a couple falls. Sure. Yeah, like that. So we got 2 or 3 sounds in a row. Maybe just bring that back, cut off the head, and bring it back. I'm trying to line this body fall sweetener up with this that's in the main one. Sure. And then we've got he's trying to kick him, so we need a cloth whoosh there. You could always go through and cut like all the cloth and then all the lows and all the highs and be real scientific about it, but I get super bored doing that, so I tend to just go sound by sound. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I'm gonna go through some questions real quick. Flu. I don't know how to, a flu, I guess. Maybe that's French. Hi, I'm new to sound effects editing. What is the workflow here that you're doing? It's only placing sounds on the timeline. Yes, that's it. That's what that's what sound editing is. That's a great description of sound editing. Placing sounds on the timeline. Um, the trick is finding the right sounds, and syncing them up is not super hard. Most people can do that, but finding the right sounds that tell the story. So yes, sound effects editing, that's all your job is. Put sounds on the timeline. Get them somewhat clip gained, like to where it's not too loud or too quiet, but you're not mixing anything. For sound design, you'll be processing stuff maybe, but people tend to mix up the disciplines where they're like, oh, I'm going to edit dialogue. And they're like, that means noise reduction. That does not mean noise reduction. It means editing. You can't skip the editing process of any of this stuff. So yes, we are editing. We're going to edit every sound in this short, and then we're going to mix it. And if we edit correctly, the mix will be super easy. And it's going to be really just like panning and EQ and maybe reverb and compression and, like finishing touches stuff. But when the sound edit is done, it should sound pretty stinking good. So do not mix up sound editing with sound mixing. They're completely different workflows, completely different processes. As a sound editor, your main responsibility is making sure the content of what is presented in the session, whatever you're using, Pro Tools, Nuendo, Reaper, Fairlight, the content you're presenting needs to be really good. Maybe not perfect because perfection is unattainable, but it needs to be really good. And if you skip the step of looking for the right material and putting it on the timeline, then it's not going to sound as good. So you really have to compartmentalize what you're doing with knowing that if you're doing everything yourself, like, oh yeah, I'm going to mix this and I might turn this down, but just put that out of your head while you're editing. Just think like an editor. Sounds on the timeline, they got to be good. For dialogue editing, there's more to it, like you have to make things smooth and all that, but we're talking sound effects today. So yes, all we're doing is selecting sounds, putting them on the timeline, and really by the time we're done with that, it should sound very good. If it doesn't, then we need to go back and edit more sounds or start over. So sorry for that diatribe. Okay, cloth. We got his leg coming down. We need it coming up and then down. Let's do... Yeah. Let's bring this over. Cool. So the peak of this cloth sound coincides with the block. I'm not super happy with this first one, so I'm actually going to swap it out. Yeah, maybe that guy. Okay, cool. And then I think I'll add an arm whoosh to this too. Just the air sound. Yeah. He doesn't skip leg day, so we're gonna give him some more of that. So this whoosh, these kind of little whooshy sounds, you want to put them right before the impact. The impact happens on this frame right here. And I'll show you why. But for now, let's do a block. Actually, I don't know if these are labeled as blocks. No, they're not. So it's just a low punch is really what we're looking for. Yeah, like that very first one would be perfect. And you can see I spotted it in. It's like spotted right where I want it. So let's listen to this kick. Cool. I think that... can I get more? I can bring this guy up. That's it. You want to keep your meters from clipping when you're editing sound effects. It doesn't really sound bad to clip them. It's just kind of like a courtesy to the mixer. I'm going to add one of these more punchy ones to the top. Perfect. That one's good. And you can, as kind of a super pro tip, you'll see I'm stacking these sounds, and there's not really, they're not the same type of sounds, but something you can do if you want to make it sound tighter is use auto align posts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So just figure out what you want to use for your key, and then I'll do let me process this first, and then we'll see if this actually sounds better with it lined up. Okay, and then unlined up. Yeah, it does sound better with it lined up. Maybe we should do that to these other sounds too. Yeah, so I'm going to use mfight 3 for that. Cool, yeah, that pops way more now. And same for this guy. Cool, that's good. So what happens here? He blocks it, and then he punches him in the nuts. Comedy Town. Bam! Nut tap. So we need a cloth whoosh for that. See, I'm adding a cloth on all this stuff. No. Actually, this one might work. Sure, why not? Again, we're getting this whoosh. This one I want a bigger whoosh for, like a classic air ropey whoosh. Yeah, like that. That's gonna be hilarious. And then a high punch. Maybe this one. Shorter sounds tend to be funnier. Yeah, I really want the guys in the audience to feel that. So we'll do that, and then we'll do a bone. Ooh, or maybe a walnut sound. That might be kind of cool. Ugh, can't type. Sure, why not? Oh, we'll make people think he's never gonna have kids. Let's see. That's pretty funny. I think it needs a little more. Let me think. We could add a low to it. This first one is probably fine. And I've got my sounds mixed up. So I want lows first, then highs. I'll line this up. I like aligning the punches. I really should have been doing that a long time ago. But I've cut, I don't know how many sound effects projects without doing this. Definitely sounds better. There we go. Okay, so this will probably cover with Foley him you know, getting up and everything, but I wonder if I have any in this. It's really like I mean, a body fall should work if we use not the fall part of it, you know. These are all impacts. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work. We need a tumble. I mean, we could maybe use that for his hands hitting the ground. Yeah, and then we need like a scrape. It's really like a drag sound. Nope, none of that stuff. Dirt. A scuff would work, but then there's gonna be like all shoe scuffs, and we don't want that. Ugh. Ooh, okay. We're getting somewhere now. Yeah. Really like that. And then we can take maybe this part off. There's some gravel in that. It's kind of nice. I'm going to crank these too. Maybe we'll space it out a little bit. Sure. And then we'll have footsteps when we do Foley. And then a grab here. Can do like a... we'll always need cloth to sell these. You'd be surprised. I'll show you what it sounds like when you don't have cloth. And we're keeping cloth on... Was it 5? Yeah. Okay. Punch low. This one can be pretty thumpy. We'll end up spacing these out, especially because it's a tackle. There's going to be a lot of different pieces to it. I'm just going to throw a bunch of sounds at it. Ooh, that's cool. That's got a flam. It's not super crunchy, but that's okay. Oops, where'd it go? Yep. Yeah, no, that's not the right one. Okay, there we go. So what do we want first? Probably that. And then that there. And I'm clipping stuff, which is not good. Okay, and then let's add... Now I'm going to get away from this construction kit stuff and just do body punch. And let's see what Soundly has. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah. This one I'm actually going to use a stereo layer. That's got some cool width to it. So we'll line it up with the second sound. And then we need a body fall, obviously. Right there. Let's see what we got with dirt. So if you scroll down in Soundly, it'll usually have like the Soundly stuff. Their cloud. Let me see what they have. Nope. Just see what they have for body fall in general. Okay. It's kind of cool. Table, exterior gravel. It's okay. You can always tell when somebody's processed the sound to make it sound bigger versus just it's a naturally bigger sound. Because these just sound like they've been EQ'd to death. What else we got? Nope. I mean, maybe. Sort of disappointed with these, so I might go back to looking at my stuff. Thing is, I know the close combat ones, even though you have to make them, they just sound good. They have really nice dynamics to them. Like that, you know? You can't get that from over-processing stuff. We need like a low... Yeah, water stuff is always good, but we don't need it. There we go. Sack of potatoes. Okay, let's see. And it's late. So we need to bring it back 3 frames. And it's too messy now. I think it's because of that. Like, it really needs to be just a big kersplat. Actually, not a kersplat. It just needs to be a bump. Okay, bring it back 2 frames and add a low... We just need like a thump of it. I mean, a punch would probably work. Body punch, low. Let me turn this down a little bit. I'm slowing this down a little bit, and I'm going to... I will probably process this with ProSub. Let me just, of course, yep, it has to refresh the iLock stuff. I think I have a preset for punches. Yeah, I do. Individual files, clip by clip. All right, let's see what that does. Maybe it's okay. I think I need to take off like all the highs though. Let's just do that. Sure, why not? Okay, that's fine. Let me just look at some questions real quick. Do you also record Foley? Yes, I do. I don't know that I'm going to go through that just because it is very complicated with one person. You have to like record arm and then set your props or set your surface and then get up and then no, that take wasn't good and I have to go back. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some other options for performing Foley. We're probably going to use this thing called Edward Art Foley instrument to do like footsteps and stuff. Props are easy enough to record because it's like you can literally sit here and just grab stuff and do whatever. But footsteps, it's really nice to have a dedicated Foley artist and a recordist or a mixer because that workflow can be really fun, really efficient. I don't have a Foley artist here. There's not one probably for 600 miles. So it'd be a little too expensive for my tiny little YouTube channel to afford. But I'll go through Foley and we'll probably do that maybe next class actually. So let me get back to this. Questions. How do you set your offset delay for your monitor when working with video? There's an app. Let me see if I still have it on my phone. I think you have to pay for it. It is called... Did I not put it on this one? It's called Catch and Sync. Man, I might not have downloaded it. It's in the App Store. Just give me 1 second to look for this. Yeah, okay. Yes. You probably won't be able to see this. If I have autofocus on, so it's probably... Okay, Catch and Sync. that is what you use to set your sync on your video. It's good. It's not as good as like a sync box, but it's fine. So, oh, I wanted to add one more thing to this. Okay. I'm going to add like a really long wind whoosh. Let's use one of the... Let's just look at the Soundly stuff. I'm not trying to sell you guys on Soundly, but it's really good, and I like what they're doing. And I'd like for them to succeed. So I try to promote it just because of that stuff. Like, they don't pay me or anything. I have no affiliate links or any of that stuff. It's just if I find a company that I'm like, I kind of like these guys, they seem to know what they're doing, or I like what they're doing, then I'll try to not just use their stuff, but also tell you guys about it. This might work. I'm gonna reverse it. So in Soundly, that's Command R, I think. Yeah, and then spot it with S, and I'll show you why I want to do this. So he gets up, and he starts to run, and I think it would be pretty funny if it sounded like this. There, you know, it's like a little, the wind is rushing, and then I actually need it to cut off like a frame before for it to really work. There we go. Okay. Then he's on him. So let's add a body ball dirt. And go back to local library too. This is for him basically ground and pound. So it doesn't have to be huge. It just needs to get the idea across that he's jumped on top and he's gonna go to town now. Sure. And really we could just get a couple frames of that. So now we've got a series of punches. And this is me laying on my back with a yoga mat on my stomach, getting punched as hard as I can by this guy who's pretty strong. And yeah, I was, even though I had a yoga mat on my stomach, I was not having a good time. It was good. It was worth it because it's kind of a cool shot, but man, it hurt. And I used to get in quite a few fights when I was a kid. So I remember what it felt like to get kicked or punched in the stomach, and it really brought me back to that fight I had in 4th grade with, I don't even remember the kid's name, but I had like a 4th grade girlfriend, you know, whatever that's worth, and he insulted her honor, and so I challenged him to fisticuffs in the schoolyard after school, and there was like the circle of kids and everything, and he gave me a flying dragon kick to the stomach. Like, this guy was waiting his whole life for this moment. And it ended up being a draw. Like, the teachers came and broke it up. But that was nothing compared to these punches. Okay, so these are going to have to be short cloth whooshes because they're fast punches. So shorter is faster. That's probably fine. I want these to be not as low as the actual punches. And since I'm going to do a series of these, I'll just cut all the cloth And I'm putting them to where the peak of this cloth is like a frame before the actual punch sound. So frame before, frame before, frame before. Now the trick with a sequence like this, which is cliched and you'll find it in a bunch of action movies, is, you know, this is where the guy gets beaten to a pulp. And so how do you make all these punches tell the story of what's happening, which is that his face is getting pounded in. And the way you do that is by increasing or decreasing sounds throughout the series of 6 punches. So I'm going to do some low punch now. Let's do this one. And you see I'm sending the whole file because I want to use variations of these. You can always do strip silence, Command U, and then set the clip duration and end pad and all that stuff. But I usually just kind of cut out the air by hand, and then I'll go back and fade stuff. But the very first thing is just getting them synced up. So the low sounds, you don't necessarily have to vary as much because it's really a series of like the same punches. But like the bone sound is really what tells people that, you know, the fight's over and this guy is done. So I'm just grabbing the end of the file and hitting G to do a fade out. I'm gonna do the reverse on the intro, so D for fade in, just so there's no clicks or pops. Some sound effects you can get away without fades, but it's just good practice to have them. You see, I didn't do that here, so I do get sloppy sometimes. So we've got our low. Let's do a high now. Now this one I'm probably going to change. Like maybe we start with this and then go to that. So I'll grab 3 of these. Whoops. And I'll do the auto align. That's a good thing. Like I've heard about that with sound effects, but kind of written it off as like, well, I don't need to do that. But it actually sounds objectively better. So definitely add that to your arsenal, and I'll do the same. Okay, so I've got 3 there, and I'm going to do 3 of the other ones. Sound a little more intense. Another thing you can do is pitch stuff up or down or whatever. So maybe let's do that. We've got one at a normal pitch. We'll do this one. You can change this to semitones if you want. But I kind of like to not do that. Percentages make more sense to me. So we'll go 10% higher on that one. Totally different sound. We'll go 20% higher on the last one. And same deal. Fade ins and fade outs. And now we're going to do bones. That's a pepper. That is a paprika, I think. Those by themselves. Oh, and I forgot to reset my pitch, but they sounded good like that. These by themselves kind of already have like a pitch increase for each one. So I think I'll keep them like that. The bone breaking is a reaction to the punch, so it needs to come a little bit after. And this one needs to go here. And then these 3, I think I'll just do snaps. Shorter sounds. Maybe. 1, 2. That one's nice. It's a little deeper. Let's see how this plays. This is before listening to anything. I've just thrown a bunch of sounds on the timeline, so we'll see. And now let's do also volume. So I'm clip gaining these down. Now I'll clip gain these down as a group and this down as a group. So the last one, let's do a blood squish too on the last one. Sure. Why not? Let's make people lose their lunch. Actually, we want just a tiny squish. And then the blood afterwards. So let's see. Oh, let's align these and see if that should help. Fight 3, individual, clip by clip. It's fine, it just needs a low, it just needs that subby, thumpy stuff. I mean, that might work. Yeah, probably more like this kick sound. I mean, this might work too. That's got some good stuff going on. Sorry, this is kind of tedious, but you know, I'm not using any AI or shortcuts or like pre-made, you know, one sound for the whole punch. This is like closer to sound design than just sound editing because you're creating stuff from scratch, but it's really fun and I think it usually sounds better. There's like a fine line, you know, like you can have too many layers and then it's hard to mix or it just doesn't sound good. But I definitely prefer working this way. So individual clip by clip, fight 3. Sure, let's try that. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, I'm gonna process these with ProSub. Punches, clip by clip. That should help. I'll have to bring them quite a bit down now. There we go. Okay. These are good. I'm going to ramp up this sub, so bring those 5 down, bring those 4 down more, bring those 3 down, bring those 2 down, and then finally this last one. So it should be a clip gain ramp on that. And let's just see if there's anything else I need for this. I know he picks this stuff up. I'll probably, I mean, the weapon, I guess I could cover that. Gun grab. Not even close. Gun pickup. Let's do pickup instead. It's from a table. Well, let's do gun handling then. That's probably fine. Doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't need to be huger than that though. I'm pretty sure I had a gun grab, but maybe not. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it was pistol. Nope. Sometimes PU for gun pickup. I mean, this would be something to be super important to have, and I cut this all the time. But, you know, I'm getting older. I can't really remember. I looked for this before, and it didn't work. Maybe just a hit. Sure. Really, that's all I need is the hand smack on it. And let's space these out. Sure. Good. Okay. And then he's going to sit down or kind of flop down. So I'll do a body fall for this. Body fall. Yeah, actually that one, perfect. And maybe a little bit later.
Take this.
All right, then he has his voiceover moment. And then this, I know there's some blood that comes out here. Blood spill. Not that much. Probably more like that. That's probably fine. It's not perfect. If we do this, might be better.
Good stuff.
And we need drips. We really need the drip. Like the after drips. Too much. It's like Kill Bill level. Let's just do drip dirt. Ooh, somebody peeing on soil. That's great. Nope, too much. Yeah, that's probably fine. I know it's concrete, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then he says his line, and then we end with a gunshot. So let us do a gun movement there. Gun handling. Ooh, that one. That little piece for the... Let's go like... And then this one we will do a dry fire for. Dry fire gun. Not a... I kind of want a slower one. Actually, that one, that's pretty snappy. We could probably grab the gunshot. It's been long enough since we've heard this that we could reuse this, but I'm going to add like a cannon to it. Is it one end or two ends? Ooh, this is a good question. Bernardo Bento, thank you for being a member. Hey Tom, sorry for the unrelated question. No apology needed for that. Bars beats samples bar usually bothers me because it shrinks editing space. Let me see. This up here, the grid and stuff. I mean, you could take, like, you can turn all this stuff off if you want. Samples. Like, I don't care too much. My monitor's old. I'm old. So I, need stuff kind of big. But I don't need like a ton of space, I guess. Ooh, it might be two ends for cannot. Yeah, it is. Okay. My bad. Maybe. Yeah, I'm thinking of like a howitzer sound. And then there's one trick I like to do. Let me add one. Actually, let me do this. Because I got routing and colors and stuff. Duplicate. I don't want to duplicate the playlist. And I'll also call this Stereo Weapon 3. Really cool thing you can do with like special gunshots is a little thunder afterwards. These thunder recordings are from the Recordist. Best like sound packs you could ever ask for. And he's a fellow Pacific Northwester, so if you need like thunder sounds or weapon sounds or like destruction sounds, I've got a bunch of his libraries and they're always useful. Cool. People will add, similar to the tackle, will add like a little lead up to this. Let's do, that's cool. That's a great sound. We'll reverse this. We'll reverse some kind of cannon. Yeah, like that. Maybe pitch it down like 70%. And then this will go right up to the click of the dry fire. Make sure it's not too big. Yeah, like that. We want to have it a little bit later. And more rampy. Sure, that's good. Okay, so let's watch this fight scene, and then we'll probably skip ahead to the gunshot. Any questions before we do that? I know I'm not the best when, like, it's hard for me to compartmentalize talking to you guys and working at the same time. I'm a terrible multitasker. So, if I skipped something or you have questions about this before we play this back, just let me know. I'm just going through and kind of adding fades because I didn't do a great job on that. I'm usually so excited to get sounds on the timeline that I like we'll do a cleanup pass afterwards where I add fades, and you know, I'll go through a scene multiple times. It's usually not one and done. So yeah, let me just do this while you guys ruminate on any questions you might have. And then we'll play this back with a full screen video window and a little Pro Tools window. And if you guys want to see it with like a big Pro Tools window, I can do that too. I might turn on edit window scrolling just so that it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Cooler looking, I guess. So that's fine. Just trying to make this pretty for the mixer, aka me, so that they're like, oh, that guy forgot fades. We don't want that. Oh, maybe, this might be kind of cool if I do the old auto align trick on these gunshots. That might be really fun. What do we want to use? Weapon 3 for that? Yeah, weapon 3. Okay, cool. The howitzer, maybe? Ooh, no, not that. The howitzer will be fine. It's different enough. And it's going to take away some of the stereo spread on this one. It's still there, but it's not quite as beefy. Okay, let me just look here for questions. I know that you're still in editing, but will you add reverb during the final mix to these sound effects? It happens outside, so no. No reverb. It doesn't need reverb. I used outside sounds for this. I'm not going to add anything. If it was far away, like a far away sound, then I might add a slap or like a woods reverb. But generally for sound effects, I try to cut sounds that already somewhat match the space they're in. So, and the other thing is with reverb, ask yourself always, does this help the story? Not does it sound cool, but does this help the story? You might find that you don't need reverb or as much reverb. I've seen people take whole dialogue scenes, send it to an indoor reverb, and ask them like, why? Why are you doing that? Well, because they're inside. And it's like, yeah, but does it need it? Does it sound fine without the reverb? And you take it off, and it does. It sounds cleaner, actually. It sounds more present. So don't just add reverb to stuff just to do it. That is like a huge beginner mistake. Yeah. So, reverbs too. How do you treat these sound effects that are located in open space? Like I said, If it needs it, sure, but generally no. And especially when you have all the other sounds playing, like the reverb can actually take away from the sound. And I try it for gunshots and doors and I'm trying to think what else. Room tones, ambience, all that stuff. I try to find sounds that already sound like they were recorded in the right space. And you'll find that with really good Foley too. The Foley, the best Foley you get doesn't need reverb. It's recorded with a mic, you know, as far back as it needs to in a space that matches what the scene is in. So the better the sounds, the less you have to process them. Okay, so yes, I'm having to shift streams around, shift my time around because I have work. Thank God for that, because I can pay some bills. But it also means that my extremely lucrative YouTube career, it's not, has to kind of take a back seat to that because I got family and I got kids and I got bills to pay. And yeah, so you'll take the streams as they come, I guess. And I'll try to keep, I'd rather keep doing them and have them be like, oh, shoot, I can do it right now. I have an hour of time versus I'm too busy. I can't do that, you know, for months. So I'm really sorry about that. But I put them online afterwards so you can watch them. I'll try to respond to comments, even, you know, the not so live ones. But yeah, it's going to be a little more random for the next couple months. Okay. Oh yeah, so no reverb on punches. Not gonna sound good. Gonna sound worse if I do that. Okay. Hope I'm not sidetracking. I use a matrix interface at work and I can't get sound layer sound cue to play through my monitors when Pro Tools is on. Yes. This is good. I like this kind of technical stuff. So streaming can be streaming adds a whole bunch of headaches to everything. And so what I've done is I've got these auxes at the bottom of my session that are routed. So all the tracks are routed to a 2-bus, in other words, like a stereo output. And what I've got on the 2-bus, I've got a limiter to hopefully save your ears for all these gunshots we're listening to. And any like soundly, like, whoa, that's too loud, that kind of stuff. And this is double bust or double output, whatever, to my monitors, which I'm using headphones, and to black hole audio for the stream. Now, Isotope has a RX monitor, so you can monitor Isotope in Pro Tools, so you don't have to route it through your interface. Generally, you want to get all the sound into Pro Tools and then use Pro Tools to send it where it needs to go. So for Soundly, what I have done is in preferences, this is output to Pro Tools Audio Bridge, which you'll have to enable on your Pro Tools I/O screen here on inputs. It's aux I/O, and so I've got Pro Tools Audio Bridge 2A. It's just a stereo coming from Soundly. You could easily set that up to be a 5.1 because Soundly does have 5.1 files that it'll play back. So Soundly is going to Pro Tools through the Pro Tools Audio Bridge, and then it's going out to you guys and to me so I can hear what I'm cutting. So very good question. I love questions like that. And I've been looking at that interface, but with work being so slow, my hopes and dreams of updating my mix computer and my interface and adding Atmos have been kind of flushed down the drain until I get some big checks in. So yeah, it was a little bit of a pipe dream, but I've got other stuff I gotta pay for. Like my truck needs new tires, and I need to build. I have like a shed I need to build, and so that stuff's all gonna come first. So let's watch this scene. Let us do video. Yeah, you guys should still be able to hear me. And then let me turn this on, and I'll do, let me close this back up. I will do maybe, do I want to do edit window scrolling? Or maybe not. we'll just play it from here.
Protect this. Keep it safe. Someday you might need it.
Good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, I'll skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so that's the scene. Pretty simple. There was one spot where I thought, you know, it was the nut punch. There's a little space in here. Man. I need like a struggle, you know, a struggly grunt. And I don't know that we have it.
Ah!
Nice growl there. Those are all fine, but not quite what I need. What is this stuff? Oh, yeah, that might work. No, it really needs, it needs like a growly sound. I mean, we could do just like some cloth rustling, I guess, but I don't think that's gonna work. This is probably me. Fur. He did a burp. That's great. Yeah, we're gonna have to fill this in with sound effects because I didn't do a good job directing him. So I'll have to fix that. So it's really just this like little bit of space here. The Foley's gonna help, like some scuffy, like, you know, he's about to fall over. But let me do like a little cloth struggle kind of thing. Just movement, really. Maybe that might work. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. Just something. I mean, this is MOS. Like, there's no sound for this, so we're having to really build it from scratch. Yeah, that's fine. And then maybe we can add something funny to this nut shot. Let's get, how about this? How about this? This will be fun. Because I tried to do like a contest the last two. Stretch, excuse me for stretching. I would like, oh, could we hear some disturbance in the background? Ooh, that's a cool idea. Yes. Man, what a great idea that is. Okay, I'm gonna mark this. Actually, remember that, because otherwise I'll forget this. Contest is going to be, tell me something funny, a funny sound to add to this nut punch. To make it, like, not, you know, the rest of the fight is kind of serious. This is the slapstick Jim Carrey moment. So, while you guys comment and tell me what funny sound, I'm talking like, be as wild as you want, and we'll see which one's the funny. Whichever one makes me laugh the most, they're going to be the contest winner. We'll throw the sound in, and then you can tell me if you want something off my site, or if you want, you can send me a project, and I will review your work and give you like a scathing critique on it. So I'm not gonna look at the chat. I'm gonna pretend the chat's not there, and I'm going to do this ambience change at the end, which is an extremely great idea. So we're gonna do my favorite thing to do for this stuff, and it might not work for this. Let me switch back to grid mode. So I'm just doing, I can always undo this, but verify, I love me some verify. So we're going to slow it down and see what that does. That's such a good idea, man. So here's the backgrounds. That's cool. What a great idea. Bernardo Bento, man. That is the type of thing where, like, you do that and the director stands up out of their chair and they start walking around. They're like, you know, cussing, like, whoa, that's amazing. So kudos to you. Bravo. Tambourine rattle, cash register sound effects. Those are good ideas. That's it. Two ideas. That's it. That's all we got. Terrible. Come on, man. Tambourine would be like a rattle, like a shaky. I got a tambourine. Yeah, I got a tambourine right here. It's probably gonna be really loud, so I'll do it further away. Wait. Like that. Or like just a hit. Cash register is kind of funny. Let's try the cash register. Unless somebody beats the cash register one. Train whistle, like a choo-choo sound. Let's see. Oh, I placed it in the wrong spot. Might be. Okay. It's somewhat funny. Did I align this? I did. Yeah, okay. Dog bark. Unleash the rattle. Like that kind of deal. I guess we could do that. Dog bark. Oh, Steve, you're talking about the end, which it needs to have, it's gonna have that big gunshot just because a little dog like a chihuahua. Okay. Let's try that. Those vintage ones. That's funny. Well, Pomeranian, we could try that. It's subtle. Subtle is good. Okay. Balloon air release. Oh, man. That might be great. Like it popped his sack. Oh, man. I mean, now that just makes me think of a fart like he got punched in the taint. Let's do a balloon release. Oh, this might be the winner right here. That's funny. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. Any of you guys who have kids, like, they somehow find a way to like power bomb you in the nuts, or like hit you with a toy or something like that. Like you have to wear a cup around, you know, especially toddlers because they don't have the gross motor skills to be coordinated. I've and also just like they're just they flop around. Like I've gotten hit in the face and gut, like they just elbow you in the gut, like, so yeah. I think that's pretty great. Oh, who did that idea? Bernardo. That was great. And you also had the idea for the end. So let's check out your ideas here. That's great. And then the slowdown of the backgrounds at the end is cool. Perfect. Okay. I think that will do it for today. Let me switch back to this view. There we go. Yes. 1-year-old 1-year-old has kicked me in the sack so many times. I know, it's like, hey, let's sit down and read this book together, and then the kids just turn into like Randy Savage, like, dropping elbows on you, and like, yeah, it's just funny. Okay, so comedy aside, thank you guys for joining me for this live stream. I tried to fit it in during a work day for me, so sorry it's kind of brief. Let me actually see like how much time we burned. How do I check this? An hour and a half for a little 20-second fight scene. But, them's the breaks. That's how it goes. And yeah, so thank you guys for joining. Thank you to all the channel members and anybody who's bought anything off my website. As work picks up for me, I will do my very best to try and make time for this. But really, I have you guys to thank for kind of keeping me going during this slow stretch. I really tried to focus on putting out more content and getting stuff on my website just to get some kind of little trickle of funds coming in. And I can't thank you guys enough for all the support, both financial and like the comments and everything. Like it's a true blessing to have this channel, and I just can't thank you guys enough. So I'll try to keep sharing stuff. It's a super small niche thing to do audio post-production, so it's never going to be huge, and I'm totally fine with that. But I am very thankful for what I've got and for everything, all the people who watch my videos, all the people who jump on the streams. Feel free to comment, and what else could you do? Oh, tomorrow, I think, fingers crossed, I should be doing a collaboration with another YouTuber, so I'll post a link for that on my community thing on YouTube, like where I can post stuff. And I will try this week to do a members only Q&A, which I need to check and see what time works for people. So please let me know. So yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you next week, hopefully. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, or anybody who has a dad, which is everybody. And yeah, so just go back through the comments real quick. Thank you, thank you. Sweet. All right, I am going to sign off, and I'll see you guys.